Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to continue on with your button simulator game. This is the part 2, so if you have not watched the part 1, I would recommend go watching the part 1 or else you're going to miss a lot of things. The first things we are going to start is we want to make sure that this button here is actually turning green when you're able to purchase it. So what we first are going to do is we're going to go into starter player scripts. So starter player scripts. And right here, I'm going to click this plus. We're going to add a new local script. We're going to call this show enough or enough effect actually. So when inside of your enough effect, you're going to make some locals. We're going to do a local player, which is going to equal to game.players.local player. We're going to need a local, we're going to get the button folder. So this is going to be the cache button folder. Workspace dot buttons dot cache, which we haven't set up yet, did we? That's our money. So we're gonna set that to money, and we're gonna change this to money as well, just so it's more convenient for us. Then we're gonna do local tween service equals game get service tween service. So the reason why we're going to call for the tween service is we're actually going to change the color. Instead of just turning green, we're going to actually make it where it like kind of switches to like a flowing type of form. So what we're going to do first is we're going to make the actual animation. So we're going to do local function, call this flow color, I guess, or actually we'll call it update color. We're going to get the button, and then we're going to also get the color of the button. And then here we're going to make the local, make a local tween info. So local tween info equals tween info dot new 0.5, which is how long it's going to take. So you can change this to 0.2, 0.5, whatever. So mine's going to be 0.5, and you're going to do enum dot easing style dot quad. You can do sin or whatever. Quad is just kind of I found out this quad looks the best. And then you're gonna do comma enum dot easing direction out. Like I said, this is all my preference. It's easier to do this. It just looks better with the actual script. Then our local goal is going to equal to the color. So let's go to color equals then the color we want, so like this. So color equals color. Then we're going to do local button tween equals tween service create button dot main wait for child button. Then in here we're going to comma tween info comma goal. Then we're going to play it, so we're going to do button tween play. Then we need to actually be able to call for this being ran, so we need to make a bunch of functions so we can run it. So local function enough cache. We're gonna put this to the button like so, and then if player dot leader stats dot money dot value is greater than button dot config dot price dot value. So you could honestly do an equal to. Personally, me, I think it's better if you show them that they have like more than enough for it. That way they don't have exactly enough. Then you can do update color button. Then the color we're going to be grabbing is we want a green color. So we're going to do color 3 dot from RGB. So the reason why we use RGB is that we can actually use, for example, we can do this So instead of having the red, we can drop it down to a 0, and it's perfectly like burning green. Then we can do else, and then we can copy this exact update color, and instead we can get rid of this 255. We actually replace it with the first 255, so it should be red and then it should be green. So if the value is more than the price needed, it will be green, but if it's not, then it's going to be red. Then we want to make sure that it automatically updates. So we are going to make a for expression. So we're going to do for money button folder, get children, do. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab all the buttons in here. That's how we're going to get this button expression pushed up to all these other buttons. Then we're simply just going to do enough cash. This is just going to run that, but make sure you send through the button like so. Then we're going to do player. So make a new thing. We're going to do player wait for child, leader stats. So we're going to look for the leader stats value. Then we're going to do wait for child again. And then we're going to go to our data store, and we're going to see what we're looking for. So we're looking for money. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our money. We're going to say money. Then we are going to do dot changed connect function. So we'll make a function if the player's money increased or decreased or whatever. Then we're going to do the exact same thing. So we're going to copy this, and we're going to do this. So this one will automatically check right when the player joins. So you can do if starts right when the player joins. But this checks for the money value to change, then we'll run the color script. So this is going to check for if the money value or the cash value or whatever value you're using is going to change. If it changes, then it's going to run through this script. This script will say, if you have more money than the button needs, then it will be green. But if it's not, it will be red, and then it will send this up to this, and it will say, this is the button, this is the color that we grabbed from down here. So whatever color got passed through, so say if it was green, it would be green. Then it's going to make it, it's going to tween the button to be green or red or whatever it is. So you can go ahead and we can play test this real quick. And so you can see we have 20,000, and we can actually just stand on here and it'll just keep doing this. It's going to obviously take our money, but you won't be able to see whether or not it is or isn't. So what we can do now is we actually make a new button. So to make new buttons for the same value and cost, all we do is just click on this button one folder, go to our moving, and just duplicate it. Make sure you're duplicating the folder itself, not the actual main model. Move it over, and we're just going to make this one where you guys can see the price difference. So we're going to put this one to 10,000, and we're going to add a multiplier of 500. And we're going to quickly change all the billboard GUIs. So not that one, this one. So this one costs 10K. Then this one will give you plus 500. Then you can quickly play it. You'll see that they're still green, but if we step on it, oh, that's why. Make sure y'all change your button to button 2. That way it's not gonna think it's the other button. So it's button 2. So now if we step on this, oh, okay, that's my fault. Okay, so make sure you increase this down here. So since we only had one button, and this is the only button we have, we actually need to go down here and we make this to 2. That way it would actually work. Now if we step on the button, it takes our money, and then we don't have enough, but when we have enough, it goes to that nice little green piece just like so. And this will work for all of the buttons that you get. and it looks very, 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 very nice. It's actually a really good touch to have in your game, just to give people that, you know what you're doing as a scripter, and you know how to actually make your game look good. Now we're gonna add a couple more buttons, but this time we're gonna make a new value. So we're gonna make a new type of button. So what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna go, and we're gonna copy the money. So we're just gonna copy it, move it over. We're actually gonna move it this way a little bit. And then inside of here, we're gonna delete button 2. And then in the button 1, actually we're gonna change the money folder. So we're gonna change the money to rebirth. Then we can go into main. We can actually change this cost of all of it. So you can change the title, and I like changing the title for one reason. So if it the rebirths, obviously it's gonna have to cost cash. So I leave the cash value the same, but if we're making a new one, so it's a new rebirth button like this, inside of the rebirth button, I actually go into it and I change the cash multiplier, like the cost of it. I change the color of it to be kind of a little darker than the one before. So I'll make it darker, or I'll make it just so it's not like the exact same. That way you know that this one, or this button, costs the rebirth instead of costing cash. It's just easier to see and people can understand it quicker. Then inside of your cash, I would also recommend, the cost of it, I would recommend changing it from the cash symbol or the money symbol to just being the normal symbol. That way, or just a number, that way it's easier for it to tell. And obviously we gotta make sure that type is rebirth, which this is also just all cosmetic stuff. You can change this and it won't mean anything until you actually script it. So just like that, we have all of this set up. Now we just need to make it where it works. So inside of the money or the button managers, we can just duplicate this, and we're gonna call this rebirth manager. And it's very simple to config because this is gonna work for all of it. So instead, we're gonna grab our local buttons, and our local buttons is actually buttons.rebirth. So make sure your money is now set to .money. That way your buttons are not just going to be looking through all this. It's going to be looking exactly at your money buttons and not your rebirth. This is very important because if you skip this step, then it will not work. So make sure that your new buttons in your money manager is set to game.workspace.buttons.money, and your rebirth one is the same, but just instead of money is a rebirth. Then from here, if you only have 2 buttons, then you have 2 buttons. So make sure that's very, very clear. So we can set this to 2. And then this. So what we need to do now is we need to go through this right here. What we're going to do is we are going to copy this script here. And this is why it's very important. So what we're going to do for this is we're going to set the I to 2 to 2 in the rebirth manager, or 2 to whatever the max is. Then down here we're going to do local, we can do local eye touching like this. Just put an I in front of everything. So do I. Then you can do your new local. So local game rebirth equals and what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. So the reason why we don't do the button number 1 is because to get rebirths you have to exchange your money for it. So we're doing gain rebirth, and we're going to put this to button 2. So button 1. So we're going to do game.workspace.buttons.rebirth.button1. And the reason for that is that way we don't have to we can exchange our money for our rebirth instead of having to change everything else for it. So what we're going to do now is just going to change this to this. And then this is going to, we're just gonna make a new quote, and we're just gonna be exchanges money for rebirths. So the reason why I have to do this instead of putting it in here is that this is going to run for one thing and one thing only, and we don't want it to run for this. We want it to run for money to the other currency. So what we're going to do now is we actually have to exchange and config with this. So this right here is where all your config is going to be. So it's going to be player.leadersets.rebirth.value. So anything that says money, you want to change it to rebirths. So this local button is going to equal to buttons.rebirth, just like so. And I think that's it. And then down here is the really important part. So this is, it says if the player's money is greater than or equal to the game rebirth value, then what we're going to do is we're going to subtract their value. Then we want to give them the rebirth multiplier. So we're going to put this to rebirth multi dot value. So now in our data store, we have to go make a new value for this. So we're going to copy this, press enter, and then put a value, comma at this multi. And this one we're going to call rebirth, and this one we're going to call rebirth multi. We'll do this for this and this for this. Cool. Now we just need to quickly come down here, copy this, and paste it again. This is in our data store. Then we're going to change this to rebirth. And then we're going to change this to rebirth multi. Then we're going to go here and we're going to press enter. And we're going to do .0. So instead of having a rebirth multi of 1, we're going to put it to 0. That way they don't spawn with it. Then we can just put this to rebirth multi. And then copy this to rebirth. Just like so. And I believe right here. This is the last one. So just copy this and put it this here. And then just type rebirth.value plus to equal to 1. So no matter what, it's going to be equal to 0. So it won't matter. But it will just keep going and going, going, going. And I believe if we go and we... Actually, what we need to do now is we need to set up a new enough text. Because this enough effect is only for the money folder. And not for all the other ones. So what we need to do is we actually need to go here. And we need to call this... we can put this in, we're going to call this money enough effect, and we're going to make a new folder in here. We're going to call this folder enough effects. Then we just throw this in here, and we can do this again, and then we can just call this rebirth enough effect, and then open the rebirth enough effect. And right here, we're just going to change this to rebirth, and then we're going to change this to rebirth value. So anything that said money, we're just going to change it to rebirth, and then we actually go into our money one, and we want to change. Actually, I think that will work. Yeah, this should work. This should work. What we could quickly do is we could actually just run another if. So if button dot name equals, then we're going to do button 1, or equals button 1. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do the exact same. We're going to copy this and put it in here, but then instead we're going to do this. We're going to put this to money. That way, because we're still looking for the money value no matter what, but this way we just change it to this. And instead of it being like, we're still going to keep it like all the colors the same. Or if you wanted to, you could change the color to a pink like this. You could change it to a pink. I'm going to change mine to a pink. But if you go into play now, rebirth is not a valid member. Oh, okay. So this right here, change wherever you got this. So right here, my bad. make sure local buttons is just local buttons. That's my fault, guys. So inside of your money managers and all your managers, make sure that the top part, local buttons, is just equal to buttons. That's my bad once again. Then you can go ahead and play, and it says price is not a valid member of local button. We're gonna quickly look at this. Oh, that's a really simple fix. So make sure you just put I button. That's what you need to do. I button, and then that's it. So I button config, then you should be good, and you can play test it. Now you can see that our stuff is synced, so that's obviously a problem. We don't want our money and our rebirths to be synced. You can see currently they are synced. So we need to change our stuff to be synced, and the easiest way to do that is probably going to be in here. Yeah, that's why. So make sure you change your data right here to rebirth multi. That way it's not going to be super high like mine is, because mine's currently still getting synced just because of the multiplier that it is at right now. So what we could do is we can actually just switch over to our server side, go into players, stamp, and then go to rebirth multi. We can set this to 0, and then if we shouldn't be gaining any more. Unless I still didn't fix it. Yeah, okay, that's also my fault. Make sure you guys change this down right here as well. So anything that says multi, make sure that you've duplicated. Make sure it says rebirth. That should be the end. That should fix it. Yeah. So just like this, rebirth is not a valid member. Oh. Rebirth is not a valid member of players.stamp. Oh yeah. Okay, no, that's my fault. Yeah, so make sure you put this to rebirth the multiplayer one more time, and then that should fix it. Yeah, there we go. Then we can go to client, switch over to client again, and then go to players, go to leader stats, and set our rebirth to 0. Then if we play test it, you'll see that this one is blue, or this one is pink, because we have enough to get it, because it's a it costs money. So we can stay on this. Value is not a valid member. Okay, so go to your rebirth manager, and so your rebirth manager's here. Make sure that you change these back to I button, and then that should fix the errors. Then if we reset our data again, we can buy. Value is still non-valid number. Oh my. I forgot one last one, which is right. Oh, I price, and then I multiplier. Sorry. So these two should be I button price. These, this one, and then this one. And then the last one should be I button value, or button multiplier. My bad, guys. Then we can go and set our value to 0. Step on this, you can see that we gain 2 now. We can actually open up our rebirth multi, and you can see at the bottom we are gaining 8 now. Then we can go over to this one. We can gain even more. Thank you all for watching this video. If there's any bugs or errors, please let me know in the comments down below. I know it was requested for y'all to have this video out, and yeah, if y'all want a part 3, let me know what it should be made in part 3. With that being said, thank you for watching this video. Have a good one and peace.